All right, it's great to see everybody here today. For those who don't know me, my name is Rick Mims. I am the chairperson of Black Push, and it's a beautiful day. I am so happy, I'm excited, I am just tickled purple to be here today. Of the anticipation of how the day is gonna unfold. This is a certain morning, it's raining. We could have decided to go be any place else other than here. But we all know this is a very important subject to talk about, gun violence. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. On behalf of Black Push, First Iconic Church, Change the Face of Justice, Concerned Black Clergymen, NAACP, and Hope Hustlers. I want to thank everyone for coming today, for being here today. My prayer is that before this day is over with, that we have a clear and better understanding where we need to work together on gun violence. But before we go any further, I want to ask Ali, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, okay, to embarrass myself, and come up and pray over this day. And once Ali finishes, I want to ask our president, Sean Smith, if you don't know him, you need to get to know him to come up and show first to the next. Thank you. Thank you, God, for bringing us together today. And this age-room dialogue is rare. Help us to be respectful even when our passions run high. And God, steer us away from arguing, talking past each other, and then to chatting, and toward action that is better informed by others. Amen.
We've been to Uvalde, we've been to Highland, we've been to Buffalo, we have something there, so many different places. I was in Wisconsin recently over the last 2 weeks, and to hear the stories of people who've been impacted by gun violence, to see their faces, to hear the realities that they have to live with after the fact is one of the most detrimental things for me. Then I partnered with, found some friends at Moms and Men Action, and they have not been able to get rid of me. So all my Moms and Men Action friends, I see everybody right here. They have not been able to get rid of me. But today is really about having a conversation. And I want to break this up into 3 parts. The first part is that I know everybody, the first thing everybody's going to say is time to talk about it, right? We need some solid actions. We need to put some things in action. Let's be realistic. The way we start with action, before there's any cost, and also to have a real dialogue about what it means to lose a family member, but also what it means to keep law enforcement in this day and age. Because at the end of the day, law enforcement does have a job to do, right? And we want to make sure that law enforcement is home, so we want to make sure our children are home. And with that being said, I'll be remiss to not mention that we just had a tragic incident here in the state of Georgia recently. And we stand with, I spoke to Sheriff Owens the other day, I sent him a statement as well. We stand with Cobb County, and we mourn the loss of both officers as well. And let's make that clear. So we do want to have open dialogue. I want to tell a story. I'm a storyteller for those who don't. 13 years ago, Ashley and her son, I ran a nonprofit down in Fort Lauderdale, where we taught kids how to play violin. And her son and his best friend at the time came to me, and their mother introduced me to them, and they wanted to volunteer. And Greg was this young man, he was 15 years old when I met him, and he was so adamant about wanting to know what made me tick, like what made me think the way I think, what made me do the things I wanted to do, what made me do, like he was adamant about it. And I tell people in my office all the time, when they don't like hearing my stories, Greg was one person I knew who was sitting and listening to me preach until it blue, green, purple, and red. One particular day, Greg called me, I don't remember the exact day, but he called me. And he said, listen, I want to go, you have to give me permission to go to the township. And quite naturally, I said to him, I said, Greg, of course I want you to go to the township, because he had dreams of being a musician, he had dreams of being an artist, so of course I want you to go to the township. So I said, go ahead and go to the township. Around 12 o'clock that night, my phone started vibrating. And it wasn't his mom who was here today, but it was another lady named Miss A at the time. And it kept ringing, I didn't answer it. Found out when I answered around 1 o'clock in the morning that he had been killed outside of the high school that he was attending a talent show at, where he was shot in the back of his head by a child who was the same age as him. And I know I speak from Ms. Roberts when I say this. It's difficult times to lose a son, but it's difficult times to lock up somebody who's the same age as your son, just as much. And This young man was actually doing it because of the fact that he was trying to get into a game. And I remember the moment, and I've been thinking about that this whole week, that moment, and how one person's life was snuffed out, who had dreams bigger than most of us can even dream, was snuffed out because he was trying to pursue his dreams. No one should lose their life trying to pursue their dreams. No one should lose their life going to church. No one should go into a hospital expecting to have a surgery and lose their life. No one should not be afraid to go to the grocery stores in their neighborhood and lose their life. Somebody asked me earlier today, why now? And my response was, why not now? Gun violence is something that is ravaging through the city of Atlanta, it's ravaging through metro Atlanta. We're losing too many people. When we wake up in the morning, we hear about a 7-year-old being killed the night before. That's when the awakening calls everybody. But at the same time, when we hear about 83-year-old grandmas moving into the grocery store, that should be a wake-up call to every single one of us. So the message today is clear. Whether or not this room is packed or not, the message today is that there's people who care enough to come together on a rainy Sunday or Saturday and say that we will stand up, we will give a voice to this. We have people who will be joining in and tuning in from all day, tune in here in a second. If you guys do not know, we've already actually had a shooting the same night that we had on the call. There was a gang violence shooting there where 2 kids were shot. They did not lose their life, but they did get shot there. They're in the hospital. I spoke to you probably there yesterday. They looked to be on the board of recovery, but for a community that is still dealing with the grief of losing babies, they now have to deal with the grief of now their kids not being safe going to the park, and they don't have any parks to do all that. And we'll also have a mother who's on from Buffalo. So I want you to hear the story. The mother who's on from Buffalo, Miss Fragrance. She actually was working the tops the day of the shooting, and not only was she working the tops the day of the shooting, her daughter was working the tops the same day. And I went to Buffalo and I had a chance to meet with Miss Fragrance, and where she told me the story of literally where they met the person who became their killer 2 days before, and they conversated with this person, talked to this person every day. And just to think about the psychosis of what that does to a human being. I will end by saying this. We keep having the conversation about is mental health, mental health, mental health. I will quote our president, who made a statement about a month and a half ago. He said that every other country in the world has mental health issues. Every other country in the world, though, they're not killing each other. We have to do something about gun violence. We have to be realistic about it. We have to stop saying it's just, and I'm not saying that mental health is not a part of it, but mental health is not the only aspect of it. And we have to call it out too. We have to put laws in place, put policies in place that protect the Second Amendment right. And I'll make that clear too. I'm not for getting rid of guns. We're not trying to say we can get rid of guns. We're trying to say that we have to be smart about who we allow to have guns. And when those people who we allow to have guns, who are charged with serving our community, and we put on a badge and they put on the side of their car that they will serve and protect, then we have to make sure we are able to hold them accountable when they do things wrong for those guns as well. But at the same time, we stand up for them because none of them should go doing their job and lose their life. And I want to make sure that we don't get those lives crossed too. So as much as hard as we've been on law enforcement, the reason why I have different people from the law enforcement community here today is we need to hear their side too. There's another side to the story. And it's not just one side of the issue. So I think Ms. Graves, I'm going to allow her to jump in first because she is someone tuning in from Buffalo. And I think she is on, right, Ali? Can you hear Ms. Graves?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to kind of introduce yourself, tell about what happened with you and the day you were working in top, so just talk to everybody.
Okay. My name is Fragrance Harris Stanfield, and I first year I turned to work because of the incident that happened on May 14th. A white male came to our job and recorded himself and streamed himself shooting and killing customers and workers at my job. And I don't really know where to stay. I don't go over this story much anymore. But his goal was just to kill Black people. He stated that repeatedly. As Sean said earlier, he did come to our job a number of times before this incident. Of course, we didn't think anything of it. We didn't think he was strange or, just another person coming to the store. And he came back to kill us. Um, I ran. I had my daughter next to me at the beginning of the whole thing. I grabbed for her to run with me. I didn't find out she wasn't running until I got to the back of the store. Um, it took a lot of obstacles for me to get to the back of the store. I won't go through all of that, but needless to say, of course, I was devastated. I was screaming. I had to be calmed down just to not run back out on the floor at that time. My daughter was still on the floor. She was on the floor the whole time. She heard everything that happened, and it's a miracle that he didn't see her. He walked past her twice. He stood basically next to her without knowing she was right there, killing other people. I did come back in the store before everything was over to look for her, but I was stopped by a number of people, and then finally the police had come and escorted us out of the building. But I did, after getting out of the store, being coerced out of the store by my coworkers to safety, I just couldn't stay out of the store knowing my daughter was in there. So I literally went back into the store to look for her while the shooting was still going on. That's not my only experience with gun violence. That particular day, I always mention how we live in communities where we hear gunshots. Sadly, on a regular basis, regular enough that we're desensitized. And the day of that shooting, we did not immediately run. We were inside the store. The shooting started outside in the front parking lot. We weren't sure that we were being shot at that time, so we did not run. It's very possible that if we weren't so desensitized, more people could have made it out. But because as Black people living in our communities, we are desensitized to gunshots, we paused and waited to see if it was something that we needed to be concerned with. And that's a very sad but relevant point. So I don't know if there's anything else that I should say.
Yeah. Are we back?
Hmm?
With that being said, what I'm going to do while we're fixing that issue, I know you've all been made a sign on. We're going to fix this issue first. I'm going to allow people who are actually sitting up to start with Ms. Buchanan to kind of introduce themselves and what they do, and then we'll hopefully have this fixed before.
You may need it. I can yell if necessary. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is a real pleasure to be here with you this morning. Thank you, Pastor, for having us here. My name is Brian Buchanan. I'm the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia, which, as my mom says, what does that mean? It means that I'm in charge of federal law enforcement for the top 46 counties of Georgia. So, I work every day with about people safe. And so understanding how to keep people safe means that training. I love prosecuting cases that come across my desk. But my primary job is public safety. And I want to make certain that I understand the best ways of keeping the citizens of this district safe. Gun violence rampant. It's a problem every way you slice it. And so it's imperative among all of us to figure out a way to make it stop. I'm all ears. I believe there's some solutions in this room. I can't wait to hear them. I look forward to meeting you all and discussing this very important issue. Thanks, Andrew.
Good morning. My name is Patsy Austin Gaston. I am the district attorney in Gwinnett County, Georgia. And this is something that we all deal with. First of all, thank you all for having this forum. I think it's very important that the community become involved with what is happening. And everyone sees it every night. You watch the news. Some people have stopped watching the news because there's so much violence contained in that. And we deal with it in Gwinnett County also because when you see that the murders, homicides that have happened, the majority of those are through gun violence. And it's young. And that's something that's our community. Our future is dying. And if we don't grab our hands and our minds and our hearts and everything around this issue, this is us. This is us. Where are we going? I have 4 grandbabies. 2 of them are 4, and 2 of them are 1. So I have 3 kids, so they kind of split that up, and they did it like that. But I'm very concerned, where is our future going to be? We don't wrap our heads around what's happening, get to our young people, and why is it that there are more guns in the United States than there are people? Then there are people. We don't need this type of violence. We don't need it. And I've heard other agencies and organizations saying, lay down the guns, put down the guns. And my question is, there has to be a simple answer. And I guess we could start there. People just put down the guns. I was talking with my staff recently, and there used to be a time when we were kids and people would have fist fights. You know, girls would want to take off the earrings, put on Vaseline, they'd be a fight. Okay? Everybody survived that fight. Sometimes they became best friends after that fight. We all have memories of it. It's no longer that. It's no longer that. Kids don't have fist fights. They kill each other. So I am praying that we do hear some answers and remedies today because this is critical.
You explained that somebody that might have taken you and told you. I'm Helen Shane Jones, president of the Southern Black Clergy, is concerned about clergy's honor to partner with Black Clergy. It's Reverend Jones' honor to partner with Sean Smith, Reverend Sean Smith. And this is an issue, this is a struggle. This is just another room of the struggle. And I believe that we have to put our lives in the struggle. Congressman Lewis said, we see the violence that was pulled away. But there is a Pontius Pilate that's right down the street under the old dome. And we have to address this Pontius Pilate who says that it's okay for everybody to have a gun in the state. And so as we unpack the layers of this room of struggle, we talk about that Pilate out of this. And if you don't know who Pilate is, he goes also by the name of the King.
I was going to remind everybody because we do have some people who are non-partisan who sit at the table. We have to try to keep it as close to non-partisan as we possibly can. Reverend McDonald.
I'm going to say I'm looking at it. Don't say it, don't say it. It's not part of it. That's all truth. I read that on him and give the first pastor before he said tired of going to funerals of our young people. I'm tired of watching the news every night. And these stories, shootings, killings. What do you do when you get tired? When Sean came to me about this happening today, I was excited. I still am excited. Black push. Young people have to talk to young people too. We didn't get into this overnight, and we're not going to get out of it overnight. It's not going to be a sprint. We're not going to come up with solutions today. But if we commit ourselves for the long haul, we can find solutions. I love Galatians 6:9. Be not weary, well doing. And when you're doing the right thing, but you should reap in due season if you faint not. We can't enter this fight thinking it's going to be solved in one election, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We have to enter this fight committed to the long haul, because it's about our children and it's about our children's children. There was a time when the home, the school, church, the faith community, synagogue, mosque were connected. There was a time when we broke that connection, we saw the rising of violence. The home, the school, the church, in our community. We broke that connection, and we did it quite intentionally, quite consciously. Not thinking about the consequences, that we can live in a time when you can get a gun without a license. And you gotta have I have to have a license to preach. I have to get a license. I have to get a license to practice medicine, to be a dentist, to be a lawyer. I have to get a license. But we make it convenient to get a gun. I was a civil rights movement, and I don't know of any movement that we were involved with that did not have attached to it legislation. Which means we have to talk to politicians, the elected officials. There must be those conversations. The parents, the teachers, the law enforcement. Dr. King talked about the Berean community and that tent. Nobody should be excluded from that tent. That's why we get a day. All from verse 6. And that's why we get today. We're going to come up with some ideas, plans, some visions. We're not going to realize those today, next week, next month. My plea to us is, let's get into this for the long haul. Not for ourselves, but for our children and our children's children. And I believe that if we don't get weary and faint not, we shall reap in due season. We can stop this violence. We have not always been this violent. Even in this country, we've not always been this violent. We have this violent. And we'll be best friends next week. Somewhere, because of the disconnect, now it's up to us to reconnect. And I believe once we start and reconnect, we start seeing results. The home, the school, the church, the synagogues, the mosques. And when we get that connect back to working together, you'll have the community. And all who are here are part of the community. The beloved community, the kingdom of God. A household that makes us all family. Following the way, he'll be preaching here in First Iconium tomorrow. Any pastor that does not promote his church ain't much of a pastor. 8 o'clock, we came out at 10 o'clock. Facebook made me do it. You gotta stop because I'm tired of all these issues. I am just tired of the death of young people that don't have to be. So thank you for being here.
Good morning, everybody. It's on, okay, good. I'm Courtney Spriggs. I'm the chapter leader for Moms Demand Action Georgia. We're the nation's largest grassroots gun violence prevention movement with over 8 million volunteers across the nation. We have 10 local groups here in Georgia. We have about 3,000 volunteers, about 600 leaders. And we are in communities. I'm honored to be part of the beloved community, Reverend. And we do things on every level to prevent gun violence. Have 2 survivors here with me today who lost their children to gun violence, Giovanni McDowell and Charmaine Brown. And we try to center their voices in our movement because we know that this is a holistic approach we need to take. It's not just legislation, it's not just elections, it is mental health, it is community violence intervention programs, it is community partnerships with groups like Black Push, who is an amazing community partner, doing a fantastic job. We are honored to work with you. But we look at all these different approaches and center the voices of those most affected by gun violence in marginalized communities. That's what we're doing, and empowering the people who have been affected to share their voice, share their story, and make the change. All the elected officials running for office who have applied and been approved to be gun sense candidates, which means that they will focus on making safe gun legislation to make our community safer, have been Democrats. But that's just who is registered for the program. So that it's offered to every candidate because we know that putting people in office who are committed to making a change and protecting our communities where it results in gun violence is the most important thing that we do as a group. Again, I'm honored to be here and answer questions and talk about evidence-backed solutions and some of the things that we focus on as a group with our volunteers. Thank you all so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Dungy, and I'm co-CEO of Hope Busters. Hope Busters is a violence intervention program that treats violence as a public health issue, not a political or public safety issue, but a public health issue. We treat it like a pandemic. The Cure Violence model, which is recognized by the White House, is an evidence-based program recognized by the White House through our network of violence interrupters and outreach workers to provide resources to the community in efforts to try to prevent violence from the beginning. We address the home first. Our participants, we deal with the highest risk, for instance. That's the top 15% of those in our communities that are about to, willing, or capable of committing violence. And with that, we treat it like a pandemic. We interrupt the transmission, prevent the spread, and change group social norms. What we do, in addition to that, is this great thank you, Dr. Sean, for having me, is that it's very important for us. We're community-based. And it's through our relationships, which aren't always law-abiding citizens, but we have their ear. And the difference is we build that rapport with them so we can get them mental health services. We can provide court advocacy for them. And it's just a voice. Eventually, we're not nonpartisan, but we also have a voting so just in case. But for those people that we're reaching to vote, or those that are disconnected and not voting, those are the people who need the vote. You know, the politicians can bring it to you.
Good morning, everyone. Before I get started, there's a silver County Pad CDP lights are on. Now, I'm James Henderson. I'm Vice President of Black Push and also a parent of a child who was killed by gun violence. And I tell you, it has been 11 years, but every July, it starts all over again. It is when I got called to it as a man, and I even still hear the sound of my voice when I
got the call and I heard the news and screamed out. Before that, I had heard many times, of children getting killed and parents losing their children. I never understood it. We really don't understand it until we touch it home. The problem is, it's still touching home. Whether it be, black on black, black on white, police, that part doesn't matter. When it touches your household, when it touches your community, it affects everyone. The young man who took my son's life, 19 years old, his family was touched. Simply because of his mental illness that probably was not, probably still hasn't been taken care of. Ended up losing their son to prison. These things, when these situations arise, they should sound the alarm, not only in our heads, but there should be some action that takes place. We talk about it and have been for a number of years. There was a long past where, assault weapons were banned at one time. And it's expired. And you saw the numbers go down. And now they're rising again. Here we are, all these years later, and still fighting to get gun violence. Personally, I want to get involved. So we will ask you today to call must continue to go out and directly to our lawmakers, statewide, nationwide, that we can make a difference.
Real quick before we continue, I'm going to bring in Uvalde Mayor, but I do want to give a shout out to a few organizations that are not sitting at the table, a few people who are not sitting at the table. On the point starting here, we have Fallon Kirsch, who represents the ACLU today. So the story himself, but he actually, his nephew was actually killed in Buffalo on the day of the top situation happened. So he lost a family in Buffalo the same day as well. We also have Greg Van, who also is a board member, Bishop Greg Van, you know him from this area, Greg Van, preacher man, who's been a civil rights icon around this area forever. He's here as well. He also represents the South Fulton Pastor Line as well. We also have commissioners in the House. So we have Gwinnett County represented in the House by the DA, and also Mrs. Marlene Fox, who represents Gwinnett County, Board of County Commissioners. And we also have somebody here from the, is it Fulton County Commissioners?
It's Fulton
County.
It's Fulton.
It's Fulton.
Like it's six.
I don't know. That's not great to see the land here for a minute. So we have, a commissioner here from Fulton County Board of County Commissioners. Anybody else I would miss? You're pointing. Oh, Commissioner Terry as well. I'm so sorry. Hey, and you're representing the CAB, and behind you.
Mr. Joe Charles Brooks, and Mayor of Forest Park, Benjamin Butler.
Absolutely amazing. So let's give all our elected officials. Before we open the floor, I do, because he is traveling, and I know they have a lot going on in Uvalde right now. We have Mayor Don. So one of the things that we have talked about is that we talk about this being nonpartisan, right? I will say this, me and Mayor Don probably looks at the world in two different lenses of view. We philosophically probably don't agree on much politically, but we agree that something needs to be done about gun violence. I have been to Uvalde, I think 3 times as of now, and we'll actually show a clip of actually us visiting Uvalde. But I think we have Mayor Don on behind my back. Yep, he's in the car. And believe it or not, he did a podcast with me a couple of weeks ago where he was actually at his son's wedding. But this is so important to me, step outside of his son's wedding and kind of talk about it. But now this is the mayor of Uvalde, everybody, and let's give him a round of applause. Mr. Don, Mayor Don, it's up to you.
Hey, Sean, how are y'all doing? Thank you for having me on this morning. Y'all doing okay? Good. Well, as you know, as Sean probably told you, I mean, Uvalde on May the 4th, we had just an unspeakable tragedy take place in our community. 2 days ago, we had
All right, we're gonna keep going because he's chatting, so he's probably gonna have a few first. I see somebody who just walked into Kim, I see you here. Kim, where are you? Oh, there she go. Kim, whose seat is right here next to me. Let's also give it up to Georgia Justice Project, who is, a real boss. This is my real boss. Changing the face of justice, I'm sorry. And we'll let her introduce herself real quick, and then we will go ahead and open the floor. You can't get away with it.
We did too. Now see how you do. I am Kimberly Carter. I'm the Executive Director of Rep Georgia, and one of our projects is to change the face of justice in our state. And I thought that I was only coming to sit in the audience and eat good food and ask questions, and didn't realize that I was actually on the panel. So obedience is better than sacrifice, so I'm going to sit down and do what I'm instructed to do.
And I will say this is not, so I just want to make this clear. We're not doing panel discussion. So even though we're sitting up here, it's not a panel discussion. This is really an open dialogue. That's really important to get everybody this opportunity to speak. So at this point, what we're going to do is I want to hear from some people who are in the room who have been impacted by gun violence. And it seems like we got to take over the whole front row. Everybody who sits on this front row has some way past reform that I know of on this side of things. I can speak for them, and you all, assuming because the other shirt on, have been impacted in some kind of way through gun violence. We have Jimmy Hill, who has his son up here right here, and again, I don't remind everybody, I want you to tell your story. Let's try to keep it as non-political as possible, because I don't want the politicization of the story to get mixed up in what we're trying to get to results on, right? We want results. So I want to remind everybody about that. Just tell your story. So I'm going to open it up and start with Mr. Hill, and then we'll have Ms. Roberts, and we'll just kind of roll our way through. Oh, and also too, we have some really good rules, Judge. We got people who are really know service. We got lemonade, we have tea, we have chicken. So those who are caught up in the game, I got your game deal right behind you. Okay, don't worry about it. I got your chicken, your rice, your beans, everything. It's all right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My condolences to all families, all nationalities, those that affected. Thanks for having me here today, John. First, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning. Being in my right mind. And another chance. I'm soon to fight just for something again. I want to say rest in peace to my son, Jimmy Ashton, mother, sister Ashton, who we laid to rest on May 19th of this year, from a broken heart in his life. But just for my son, Jimmy Ashton. And I also want to offer my condolences to the family of Andrew Smurder Jr., father who fighting for his son, who was murdered by Judge State Control. He passed away 2 days ago. People don't understand what it does to the family. Whether it's police violence, whether it's street violence. Yeah. That one bullet, it kills many people. It destroys families. And our family, mental, physical, and emotional.
I carry these signs here, you know, one of them guys carry these signs everywhere I go. You know, I'm a resident now, represent my son. This is my son, Curtis Jordan. He was murdered by two young black men in Southwest Atlanta at the age of 18 in 2012. When he was first murdered, I lost him. And I wanted to retaliate. And I wanted to retaliate in ways that you could never imagine, because I felt like something had been taken away from me. I cried to God. I never will forget his mother moved to North Carolina and came back. When she saw him in the casket, I never will forget that howl, that cry, that scream, that holler that I heard from my voice when she seen me there. It was like a wounded animal about to be destroyed. We followed from City Hall, passing out flyers, going to the neighborhood. Because I felt like I couldn't be afraid to go to the neighborhood where it happened. Because if a man don't stand for something, he ain't fit to leave. And I was gonna stand for something for my son. And I went with the mindset of going with non-violence. Following me out, people started coming forward. And I give a lot of credit to C.T. Martin, city council who did to help me. I want my to C.T. Martin is one that set up the legal Alabama, and to see me on there, TV, he's the one that helped us out a lot. So, you know, I really just have a lot of respect for him. Anyway, the end is short. We followed about witnesses came forward. Witnesses were terrified, so we got this code in this neighborhood, in the black community, as being a snitch. You know, so it's okay. And people raise hell when you try to take on to be a snitch until it happens to them. Then they won't help some of these same people. So anyway, the guys ended up getting license there from prosecutor Banks, who no longer was not prosecutor. He wasn't in the place where he told me I'm gonna treat this case like it's my son, and he did. So they both got license there. You know, God is good. So our family got to tell you, it wasn't really desperate, we got to say, to tell you a little of this. This is my son, Jimmy X. He was murdered by someone came on January 27, 2019. My son Jimmy X was unarmed and surrendered. He shot and killed by former Atlanta police officer, Tom Key, on the assumption of a vote on robbery one, in which the witness came forward and said that there was no one going on robbery. And though, Shannon, Jones, and others, though the investigative report on the public integrity unit stated that the shooting of my son Jim Jackson by Sean King on January 27, 2019 was not justified, and Sean King should be charged with felony murder, aggravated assault, and violation of oath. But because the COVID-19 came into play, all grand jury hearings were staged. But this case must be presented to a grand jury when grand jury hearings resumed. So at the same time, it was election time. It was a new DA time for the kind of district attorney. So I email every day, continue to fight every day. I stand on the corners, posts, in the rain, in the sun. It don't make no difference. You know, I want justice for my son. I want accountability for my son. So I stand with it every day for the kind of right in my son. Jimmy, if I had my son, if I had Sean Kemp been indicted for the murder of my son, Jimmy Jackson. You know, there's something that keep it real. It's something about police brutality. Should I say police killing a black man instead of my son Jimmy Jackson? It's just something we tend to stay away from. But police gun violence is also gun violence. And we got to stop ignoring it. And we got to start speaking out more about that. Because it's gun violence also. I don't agree with gun violence if I was killed. I had two sons who died. This has affected my family. his sister didn't want to come to another protest. He got a large amount of support. It took almost 2 years to come to the protest. To a rally, peaceful rally. But sometimes I wonder why we don't have enough support. Why is they not so quiet when they come to police combat? And I think we should stop just talking about, come out behind these 4 walls and start being about support these family, support my family. Look at the facts. You know, people are bad apples come from buying trees. And by trees come from law enforcement and being with structural racism. Racism is still being alive and maybe back in the day. I just want to thank you and say, you know, we have to get do more than this talk. And then like, Tom said, it's gonna take a while. But so much damage has been done, broken promises. You know, you ask for our votes, you ask for our support, but then when you get a certain position, you turn your back on lower income black men. So you gotta realize, it's this trust. We got a trust issue. So how people don't trust? And to the point, I come from the street. I've been a part of my life. And I was in the prison, but I know I had to get it together. I thank God for allowing me to get it together, to have mercy and grace, and to save me. But I didn't want me to save me, but God saved me from the good. I just say, we have to cut down these barriers. It is no trust. I'm just telling you the truth, ain't no trust. Ain't no trust in the Lord in our black community. We gotta win back that trust. We gotta go into these communities. We can do all we want to downtown. And then this is the example right here. Go into these churches. We got enough of these churches to be able to go into these churches in these neighborhoods and have a meeting like this every week or something. Stuff that we really want to get it in because people ain't gonna go downtown because they ain't trusting nobody. And so the man said, put the head. I don't care. You know, people don't even want to vote. I don't care they're gonna do anything. The man said they're gonna do no good. You know, so you know, we just have to stand together on the issue of I'm not against police officers because I have several family members that are not police officers. So I just wrong is wrong no matter who says it or who does it. And that's just bottom line. So I just want to thank you for having me here and thank you for allowing me to say every word. I would have to say thank you for my son, Jimmy Hess.
Amen.
Just to reiterate, one tries to maintain a 2-minute speech so we can get as many people as possible. Thank you.
Thank you to all the pastors and community leaders and officers, everyone that can come out. I'm Shavante Roberts, and I'm gonna be the mom. My son, Burger Smith, was killed in 2009 after attending a talent show at his school. He was a mentee of Deshaun and Sean Xavier. I'm sorry, guys. You did everything right. He was an honor student. He was a church every day. He volunteered his community. He was respectful. He loved his parents. He loved his community. He always gave back. And I was a parent that was a hands-on parent. Me and his father, Sean, knew about for that. He never went anywhere without us. He went to the mall with his friends. I was in the parking lot. He went to the skate rink. I was in the parking lot. Just so happened he wanted to go to the talent show at school. And I told him, you can't go to the talent show. You have to volunteer tomorrow with Sean at 8. Of course, Greg being Greg called Deshaun. Greg is Deshaun's unofficial child. Just put that out there. He always thought he was Deshaun's favorite. And he said, well, Mom, Sean said I can go. He said I can go, can I go? I said, get him on the phone. And he said, hey, Sean, say, let Greg go to the talent show. I said, okay. You said it's okay, it's okay. I said, but he's coming volunteer tomorrow. No excuses. He said, I'm going to do it, Mom. So, he Green's got, is A. We help each other, both of us, our kids were like brothers and sisters, we were like sisters, me and her. She was working from home mom, so she was the one that got sick, she was out of school and everything. Me and her were back and forth about who's gonna sit at the school that night with the kids. She's like, no, I'll go, I'll take them, I'll pick them up because they're going to Sean in the morning, you have to work, you have to school, and also school too. Long story short, the one time, I'll never forget myself that, the one time that I did let my baby go somewhere and didn't wait, he never came back. He said, I said, Greg, I see him, he come back, be safe. He said, Mom, what's gonna happen home school, but I'm gonna get shot? His exact words. Never thought that was my baby's a talent show, and he never come back. If it happened to him, it happened to mine. He was a gang banger. He was disrespectful. He did everything right. He did everything right. As a lot of these kids do. It's just that somebody had a gun and wanted to use it. I thank Sean so much for everything. He's been there through the good, the bad, and he does this, guys. It's not for show. He's lived this, nobody can affect him, the more you guys can know, Greg was like a child with him. He's with them, he's there with family. He's been in contact with me for 13 years. He's been in contact with me since the day it happened. He's always called me to check up on me if I need anything. It's such an honor to be here and tell my story. And, just thank everybody for, coming to this dialogue. How we make a difference and save our community, because we have to stop it. I'm tired of funerals, I'm tired of our